Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Kleinknecht here, along with head coach Scott Langer. And coach, kind of hard looking back as far as removed as we are actually from the weekend, but that's the nature of the show, unfortunately. But 6-3 win Friday night. Power play went 204. Kill was 100%, 40 shots on goal. A solid win for the most part on Friday night, particularly a strong third period. What did you take away from Friday?
Yeah, it was a slow start. Got out of the gates a little late, fell behind there pretty quick there in the first period, but I thought as the game got on and through the second period, obviously we made it an even game and we were able to really turn it on in the third, which I think at home is a real positive thing. We want to start better. We know as a team that we have to start more on time and be ready to go out of the gates, but that was a good solid home win.
Yeah. Well, and prior to the game on Saturday, you and I talked a little bit about the starts, and you said, as well as you generally finish games, you can start games as strong. You're going to be a tough team to beat. And on Saturday, it ended up being a 3-2 loss. Power play was 0-4. Penalty kill did give up one of two. 32 shots on goal on Saturday. Pretty tightly contested game, and they got a pretty good start on that on Saturday night.
Yeah, for a road team, it was a great start. We handed them a breakaway. We handed them a goal from outside our blue line that trickled through the pads. And if I'm on the road, I'll take that. Yeah. I'll take that start any day of the week. So, we certainly handed them that game. Few real fortunate road goals for those guys, and we battled back, but we just couldn't. Obviously, their goaltending was really good in the third period. He made some key saves and didn't allow us to tie that game.
Yeah. Then, you get Sunday off, but turn around and get back on the bus and head up to Minot on Monday, which ends up, again, a loss, a 1-4 loss. And the power play was 0-3. Penalty kill was strong again, 100%. 46 shots on goal. Outshot Minot over the weekend. On both Friday and on Monday. Saturday it was even, 32. And I wanted to get your thoughts on Monday's game, of course, but also to talk a little bit about some of the shots on goal, because even though statistically, obviously, you're putting shots on goal, you've got a chance of scoring, they're not always the best chances sometimes, huh?
No, but that game there, I mean, the chances for and against, it was a large margin by our team.
Yeah.
And we only track grade A chances that, we can actually score on. So, the big thing there is I thought our first period was outstanding. I mean, we absolutely held the pace, took it to them, tipped the rink a little bit, and then they were able to score their 4-on-4, which is kind of a game changer late in the period. After such a positive start, we let them back in a game that they didn't belong in. And then, the end of the game there is in the second period, where we took about 3 minutes off and got away from our identity and who we are and how we play. And they made us pay on every one of those mistakes.
Well, and then you shut them down in the third, but that's all, like you said, all it took was, that three and a half minutes there, and not able to capitalize. Talk a little more, if you would, about those grade A chances and the difference, I guess, when you're looking at shots on goal. And what I guess what I'm asking is, what constitutes a grade A chance versus just a shot?
Well, a grade A chance is if you take a shot from the blue line and it goes on net through traffic. That would be a grade A chance. Grade A chance would be you basically making the goaltender. It was just you and the goaltender within the dots. Okay, so if you're within the dots and you get clear-cut chance, certainly nothing that is a dump in on net. Those don't
right.
count. Some slings from below the goal line, we don't track those. Rebounds are obviously a big one. If you get on a rebound and you get a chance to score a goal, and we're tough on our chances when we look at them, because you could track them all you want. If you lie to yourself, it's not going to do you any good. So
good point.
But we had our fair share of chances over the weekend. Those 3 games, we had a lot of chances, and we've brought some guys in here that should help us score some more goals. And I still think we're a team that needs to score by committee. And all of our teams have always scored by committee with my time here in Aberdeen. because I feel that your depth wins hockey games, and you should get scoring and secondary scoring from all four of your lines. So, we're normally when we get to 3 goals, with up until this weekend, we get to 3, we're 7-1. So, we've gotta put in the whole 60 minutes. We're learning the hard way. We're learning lessons the absolute hard way. It's costing us points in the standings, and it's going to make our second part of this season that much tougher, because we're going to have to go on a roll in order to climb those standings.
Well, you talked about bringing some guys in. Of course, Mac Byers scored his first goal as an Aberdeen wing on Monday night in his first game. What does Mac add to this team? Of course, most recently in the USHL with the Rough Riders, but looks like he's got a lot of speed and a pretty skill and kind of a finesse. Well, I shouldn't say finesse because that's kind of pigeonholing a guy, but he looks like he's got a lot of skill.
Yeah, Mac's known for his relentless effort. He's just a relentless worker. Whatever situation you put him in. I've watched Mac now for 3 years, and his game is just outwork the opponent. And obviously, he's got the skill set and the skates, and he's a Division I caliber player. But his work rate is exceptional, and I think that's going to help bring everybody else's work rate up.
Well, we've seen in the past that's the case. Guys like Nick Sicoli, who are, have that motor that doesn't quit. Moving forward, you have a short week here. With the Monday game and getting home early Tuesday morning. We've got Austin coming up. They are 9-6, 1-2 at 21 points. You've seen Austin before, obviously, but they played one game over the weekend, just Saturday night. So they're going to be a little bit more fresh, one would think. But what have you guys got to do as a team to go into Austin and pull some points away from Riverside Ice Arena?
Just like we talked about, we have to stick to our identity, what our game is. When we don't have the puck, we've got to go get it back, and we have to play tough defensively. They've got confidence. They're scoring goals now. They've added their goaltender back from the USHL, who's has given them confidence to play the way they're playing. So, again, you're on the road. We have so many games in such a short span. We're going to have to be really sharp at our approach, and we're going to have to do it as a team.
Okay. Well, Coach, like I said, short week creates some challenges, I would imagine. And to some degree, it helps that you've seen these guys before and so on. But preparation, does it change at all as far as what your, the timeline and so on of practice and meetings and so on? Or is it just
it's a whole lot of stuff within a small amount of time.
Yeah.
Because we have some things we really have to fix, and we only have a day and a half to fix them. So we're trying to throw a lot in there, and obviously with that you have to keep the guys interested. This generation becomes very disinterested real quick.
Yeah.
So you try to get everything you can out of them in a short amount of time.
Everything kind of compressed. Okay. Well, Coach, I won't keep you any longer here. Wish you best of luck against the Bruins, and once again, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll take a quick break here and hear from one of our sponsors, and we'll be back with a player coming up after this. Welcome back as we continue on with Wings Weekly, and as promised, second portion, player joining me as is usually the case. So this time it's Houston Cartman.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for taking some time to come on the show, especially like I was talking with Coach. I know everything's kind of compressed this week, so it makes it tough. But Houston, you're from Manhattan Beach, California. Is the first time you've ever been out in the Midwest like this, or the Plains anyway?
Well, actually, I did 4 years of high school at Sac St. Mary's in Minnesota, so it's not my first experience in the Midwest, and so I'm pretty used to the weather and the lifestyle out here, and I actually like it a lot. So
right on. Well, obviously, if Minnesota weather is pretty similar to what we've got going on.
For sure.
You played with Wenatchee in the BCHL, and when I had DePaulo on a couple weeks ago, I asked him about the different styles from the Saskatchewan League. What's the BCHL and the NAHL? Are they similar, or is there some differences there?
There are a lot of similarities, but the one big difference I'd say is the BCHL is a much more open game. You're going to get a lot more line rushes. It's almost like more teams the focus is more offensive, where here in the NA, like it's tough to get your chances. It's really tough to get to the net, and everybody's playing kind of a more hit and pin style. So it's tough to keep that possession and make plays below the goal line. Everything happens quick, and to get to the dirty areas and all that stuff is really how you score goals in this league.
Yeah. Well, and it's actually pretty similar to what I've talked with other like European players often.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty similar to what even to what Nate said last week actually. Well, how did you get your start in hockey? What age and what was your inspiration? I guess did you have maybe a friend or a parent or someone who played before you that said, "Hey, you should give this a try"? Or
actually, my dad played growing up, and he's Canadian on his side, so kind of a hockey family a little bit. So me and my sister started with roller hockey when we were pretty young, like 3 or 4, and then once it was to the ice, it kind of never looked back. Like fell in love with it right away, and just have been doing it ever since. So
excellent. Funny how Coach Anthony Bone, who was here with the Wings, that's how he got his start too, and I was surprised at that about how the transition from roller hockey onto ice, and that's how he started playing hockey too. You mentioned, okay, your dad played. How much as you're growing up was he an influence? I mean, was he able to coach and that kind of thing too, or is it just like, well, this is something I'm interested in, so you're gonna, that you want to follow those steps, or how much of a push, I guess, was there?
He coached my roller teams growing up, so I played probably a year or two of roller before going to the ice. So I started ice hockey at 5 or 6, but I was fortunate enough to have some NHL coaches coming down, because a lot of the Kings players moved to California and they don't want to leave, so they want to coach their sons growing up. Sure. So I had good guys like Rob Blake and Nelson Emerson, former pros, to kind of show me the way and learn a lot from them and take it from them, like guys who have made a career out of doing the thing they love. So that's kind of my inspiration there. So
wow, that's not something that we don't have a lot of those advantages in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Yeah. Speaking of Aberdeen, what have been your impressions as a whole? Are there anything that being at Shattuck's, I would imagine that, as far as culturally, there's not a lot of differences. But what are your thoughts of Aberdeen as a whole? We're a little more isolated, obviously, than the cities and so on. But what's your experience been like so far?
It's for sure a hockey town. There's not many better places to play juniors. The place bumps every night. We have a home game. It's pretty packed, and the fans are crazy, and we get great support and everything. And the culture within this organization's outstanding. First class with Coach Langer, and it's been just an unreal time to come in here, and a pretty easy adjustment for me.
Excellent. All right. Wanted to ask a little bit about off the ice or away from the ice. Do you have any hobbies or anything that you like to do when you're not practicing or playing a game?
Well, actually, I've taken up fishing since I've been here. Going down, kind of fishing the lakes and ponds around here, trying to catch some walleye and hanging out with the boys, but that's pretty much it. We're pretty exhausted after a long day at the rink, so taking care of your body and whatnot.
I can imagine, and that, of course, always a big part of it too. I wanted to talk a little bit about, and this is a compliment, but you're an emotional player, pretty fiery guy, definitely. I mean, whether it's after you score a goal to Sully, or after the whistle, sometimes getting into stuff, but stick it up for your teammates, whatever it might be. But sometimes that can kind of put a little bit of a microscope on you too, whether it be players or fans or whatever, you start to get attention that you may not necessarily want. Is there a fine line there where you try to almost kind of hold yourself back a little bit sometimes? Because I mean, I can imagine if a guy's really a passionate person and an emotional guy, sometimes I could see where maybe that would go a little too far. Is that ever a problem?
Well, I certainly play with a lot of passion and play on the line, and luckily I've been doing it for quite some time, so I've crossed the line enough to know where it is. And so I just kind of have a general spot in my head where, maybe am I taking it a little too far? Do I need to draw it back or whatnot? But I mean, I think I have it pretty dialed now after 18 years.
That's great. I love it. If you push it too far enough times, you know where that limit is.
Exactly.
All right. I wanted to ask you kind of a goofy question, but you've been, you joined the team a little later than obviously the guys who went through camp and stuff early on, but you've been here long enough to get to know some of these guys and stuff. Who would you say in this locker room is most likely to pull a prank on someone?
That's tough to say. I mean, we've got a couple jokesters for sure, and four-year guy like Riley Murphy. My roommate, Trevor Russell, he'll pull some quick ones on me, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, you guys have Austin coming up. Talked about with Coach. That's a team that has gained some confidence. They're coming off a win over the Wilderness on Saturday. They get their goaltender back. So I wish you guys the best of luck. Of course, we'll be along bringing that the games to everybody, of course. But wish you guys best of luck coming up against Austin, and keep up the great work.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Well, folks, a little bit of housekeeping here. Friday and Saturday, November 15th and 16th, as I mentioned, the Wings are at Austin. 7:05 puck drop both nights. You can watch the game at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Aberdeen or at hockeytv.com. You can listen on 94.1 The Rock, hubcityradio.com, or the Rock app on your mobile device. Friday, November 22nd, Wings are home. Chippewa Steel are in town, and it's Free Kids Friday. Kids 12 and under will receive free admission with the purchase of an adult ticket at the door. Hub City Radio is the corporate game sponsor on Friday night. Saturday, on the 23rd, it's Chippewa Steel again, and there's a skate with the Wings following the games. That's always popular. A lot of people like and look forward to those nights. Both nights, there will be a Thanksgiving food drive, $2 off admission at the door with non-perishable food donation. We will also be starting our Aberdeen Area Chamber Ambassadors Hat and Mitten Drive this weekend and every weekend through December. Wings Away jersey auction will be on Saturday, November 30th, following the game with Bismarck. Val Jark of Jark Worley Auctions will be the auctioneer. And for all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit AberdeenWings.com or follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. The Wings have begun our Day with the Cup promotion. If you advertise with the Wings or have season tickets and you want your business to spend a day with the Cup, contact Aaron Smith at 605-380-5852 to schedule. Remaining reserved season tickets and corporate night sponsorships are also still available. You can call Aaron for that as well. So that will pretty much wrap up this week's Wings Weekly. Once again, thanks to Houston Cartman for coming on the show, and for all of you for listening and watching. That'll wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.